everybody. First of all, I wanted to thank for the committee and Thomas and others for organizing this event. It has been beautiful so far. I attended a lot of great presentation. I met a lot of great people, so I really enjoyed these 2 days. So thank again, maybe round of applause to organizers for this. Yep. And to our talk today, we want to talk about PDF specification, the gaps, user expectations, and future challenges. I'm Roman Toda. As Thomas said, I am working in PDF standardization for quite a while, member of the PDF Association, TWGs, working at ISO. So I'm on the technical side. Madhura?
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Roman, and thank you, Thomas. I'm Madhura Damodaran. I would say I'm the odd man out in this audience segment because I represent the product management community. So whatever you do in the background, the specifications, the technology, ultimately I deal with the customers, the enterprises, and how I can make my product and make my business thrive with revenue. That is the core aspect of product management. So I own all the PDF portfolio products with Foxit. And for this session, especially Roman and I, we have a Roman in our office, so we keep changing this name. Roman and I will be talking about PDF specifications. It's almost like a healthy debate of my perspective versus his perspective, because we both come from different background. So what matters for me might not matter for him, but ultimately we want to see how we align with the PDF specifications and to really entice the customer's expectations.
Yeah. So let's dive into that. We heard this a couple of times before. PDF specification was born in 1990 by this exact document called Camelot Project. It was written by John Warnock at Adobe. And I put it in here because I wanted to highlight a couple of important decisions that were made at the very, very beginning of our journey here. So ability to communicate visual materials, very important aspect why PDF specification was born. Print, right? The popularity of fax machines. You might, well, a couple of you might not even know what it is, but it is, embedded in the core principle of PDF. And the most importantly, these documents should be viewable on any display and should be printable. Now, you may say, well, it's not that vague. And you can see we're not doing any decisions on stuff like text editing, accessibility, commenting, things like that. So the very early decisions shape the core principle, which is consistent rendering. You want to see the PDF or the file in a way that's been created on any device possible. That's it. And the early decisions we made at the very beginning, not we, but the authors of the document, of the specification, are actually so embedded in the core principle of PDF that we added features on top of this core principle. So it's not always easy to do stuff like text editing. And as we progressed, on our journey, we see Adobe evolving the specification pretty much alongside with the implementation. So obviously they were commenting and writing down the decision made in their product. That's why there might be some gaps in defined features, because it was kind of, we just describing whatever we have. If we did a mistake, well, we can still look into the code. And from very early beginning, there was undefined UA behavior. Nobody really tells you how to actually consume the PDF, which is presented. Nobody tells you whether there should be or shouldn't be a scroll bar, stuff like that. And as we progressed, moving forward, we started to add new features in the PDF, layer after layer, and we see others joining the market. And therefore, we see also inconsistent implementation. And that's when the standardization debate came into the place. How, what, and when to standardize. So we should be talking about user experience. So where the user experience actually is coming from, the nature of the PDF or the PDF user experience. So what the specification defines, it's a file format. It doesn't define how the end user will consume whatever is printed on the blank canvas. We didn't specify anything like that. Although on the way, we a little bit talked about, processors. That's the magic word in PDF specification when we say, well, processor should, shall, may do this and this with the content. We also have undefined yet standardized user behavior because, as I said, Adobe was writing the spec alongside with providing the implementation. So you just looked what Adobe Acrobat does, and you said, well, that's the standardized behavior. That's the standardized expectation of end users. And we also saw a shift in this paradigm when the device-specific consumption started to appear. You have a mobile phone, and on the mobile phone you have a screenshot of a PDF feature, which is embedded in a PDF spec, right? We say in PDF spec that PDF should be open with center window on screen. What does that mean for a mobile? Nobody really knows, right? But it's we land it on an expected user behavior. And we are just talking about small things now, but all come together when you start using the PDF in a way that normal people would use it. So you are adding features that are essential part of the user experience within a PDF. But more about that, Madhura will talk more about those expectations. So we face challenges and inconsistencies. Inconsistencies in terms of the user presentation of the content, as well as inconsistencies in feature set. Not everybody implements everything. Not everybody implements everything the same way, which at some point seemed like a very good idea because that we thought that might drive the innovation. At the end of the day, the innovation didn't happen that much, but was it a bad thing? I think that might even turn out to be the best thing ever because everybody set up their expectations for the tools, for the consumption. And yeah, we still have the debate whether the PDF stagnated in innovation over the years. And why the user experience matters? I call it that PDF is the contract with the user. So you get as visually what you expect to get. But it's not only that. You also get some of the features and you take them as a granted that are not defined. And as we progressed even further, we have changing audience and changing expectations. Audience might be different now than it was 20 years ago. So what are we going to do about it? And I already mentioned that the future of PDF user experience is also shaped by the expectations that users set up for the used features. So the features that you think that are part of the PDF specification already are actually not. They are made up by vendors. And there is an argument for standardization or standardizing these features. There are arguments against it because we think that it might stop the innovation. Even the innovation might not be as big as we might hope. But if we don't do anything, there might be also a risk of inaction. And I provided here one other screenshot from PDF specification. Actually says that in PDF specification, we have some provisions what PDF processors shall do. And we also have some definition of what a processor means. Interactive processor, writer, and stuff like that. So something is already defined, something is not.
Yeah, I also have something to add to that slide.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, so from my perspective, again, right, from where I see the users, the customers are my North Star for determining what I want to bring for the product, what I want to launch, or even to prioritize in a big backlog of bugs and enhancements. So let's start again to see the user experience and why it matters, right? So the first thing, contract with the user. So as simple as how we see that is when I open a PDF, I can be the reader or the consumer of that particular document, and someone else would be the author of that same PDF. So the contract here is literally the author and the reader handling that document and what they want to establish as the end user goal or task for that document. So when we open the document, we would expect as a naive PDF user or as a super power user of PDF, we want to emphasize on the persistence or the permanence of what we see as rendering in PDF. So that again, for the past 2 days, we have heard many times about the format, the preserving, the layout, and all of that. So that really matters in user experience. And then moving on to the changing audience, we also heard about the keynote in AI, right? So AI, we also embraced AI. In fact, we were the first to launch AI into PDF. And then later we monetized it. But overall, AI is also, making some navigations and spins in how the customers interact with the PDF or have expectations. So looking into the topic of are we for standardization or against standardization, that's a larger debate. But overall, if we want to move away or be a little against standardization, then the prevailing factors for that is you'll have more creativity, more innovation, and as vendors, we want to differentiate, right, from one to another. Like even here, we have 4 or 5 of our competitors. So how do these vendors differentiate? So that's where standardization or moving away from standardization matters. And again, on the contrary, why we go for standardization is because it's going to be like a pillar that any vendor or anybody would go and adhere to. That way, you also are able to have some kind of disadvantage if you don't stick to those standards, right? So how do you have a certain Bible of sorts to follow in order to build something? So that's the debatable argument. Okay, so moving on to customers' needs, right? So looking at the customer perspective of PDF, I look at things that are very core values inside PDF. So no matter what you build in terms of technology, in rapid innovations, the core features which are must to have inside PDF are the ones laid out here, which is security, collaboration, extraction, and then in the next slides I have OCR and I have redaction, right? So these are the must-have features. Without these, I don't think PDF could really take it's like holding the bull by the horns, as to speak. So the slide earlier, please. Yeah. So basically, what's security for the end user? If I'm going to share my document, I'm authorizing someone to access the PDF document. That means I should have a peace of mind that this document is intended to be shared only with that set audience, 1 or 5, whoever I entitled to follow that document. And it shouldn't go to the hands of others intentionally or unintentionally. So that's the very first factor for security. And also the very first determining factor to win a deal from our enterprises. So when an RFP is submitted, the first thing they ask is security white papers. Is my data secure? GDPR, HIPAA compliant? All of this is important. So talking about collaboration, we had another keynote speaker talk about collaboration. The real-time collaboration is lacking, big deal. For 3-4 years, we've been trying to bring real-time collaboration, and I think that it's really the matter of time that we have to hone on to this. What we call as annotation is just doing the bare minimum for collaboration. So, how are standards going to help us in the way real-time collaboration works, right? Like when we talk about real-time collaboration, it's about me allowing access to people to not only view, but to edit, and then I should have some audit trails, version control, so much more beyond annotation. So extraction is merely pulling out data and presenting it in various file formats, not just, without even copy paste, how do we extract the data, and how do we handle not just a single file, but mass volumes of files and successfully extract. So all these are core values to what customers want in a PDF. So when it comes to OCR, again, whether it is a scanned document or an image-filled PDF, the essence of OCR is that searchable and editable aspect when someone opens an OCR. And again, with OCR, it is not limited to just that, but also how do we take it to the next step of OCR integrated with workflows. So these are some elements that customers really care about. Personally, OCR has been a very friction point for our customers, and we try to work with our vendors. There's Abby, Iris, all of these vendors. So we are trying to see what is the best and the latest APIs they offer to integrate and give the best to our customers. Redaction, again, a very important aspect. In the UI, it has multiple clicks right now based on the type of redaction we want to do. But ultimately, redaction also means once that task is completed, it gives a peace of mind for the enterprise that there's no other sensitive data lingering. And when redaction is complete, that means it's really compliance and legally secure to process and take it to the next step.
Yeah, I will wear my PDF standardization hat now. I'll try to answer your concerns about those things. And basically, I have to say, PDF specification doesn't care that much about what you said.
I know.
So when it comes to security, collaboration, digital signature in particular, so we don't really enforce in a PDF specification any type of validation. Well, there are debates we cannot do. However, it's not entirely clear when does that happen, what would be the outcome, how to present the results, output. Yeah, we may say, well, okay, the green check mark in Adobe Acrobat works perfectly. Yeah, but what does that green check mark mean? It's not entirely clear. I'm not saying it's total bullshit. It's not. It's a very important assessment. However, the PDF specification doesn't really care. So me, as a PDF specification writer, I would say, go figure, right? It's your world, so offer something to your customers, something meaningful. But I understand the pain that we actually are providing the consistent user experience to everybody across all the PDF viewers. So we should probably talk about this a little bit. Extraction, yep, I understand. It's not always easy. PDF specification doesn't define what the word means. We don't even define what is the, so we tell you how to find the Unicode representation of certain glyph, but we don't tell you what to do if you double click on specific glyph. User expectations would be you select the word, but we don't know what the word is. We don't even know what the reading order is. So again, I'd say, well, it's something for marketing people, product people to figure out what would be the best outcome. However, again, we want to provide the similar and predictable user expectation across all the application. OCR, from the PDF specification perspective, that's just invisible text on top of the image. Yeah, that's not a big deal. You just put it there. However, I understand that end user doesn't see it, cannot validate it, cannot check it, because it's invisible, right? You don't have a control over the tools. You don't even know, or you cannot even validate, or your users cannot validate whether it's proper or not. It's good, it's bad.
So it's beyond even our ecosystem, because we rely on third-party tools and services.
Yes, which usually happens across the board. So the output is a little unpredictable from the end user's point of view. Reduction, that's a completely different story. You heard a lot of stories about badly redacted PDF files. From PDF specification point of view, we just defined the area, which is a B box that user wants to redact. And that's it. That's where the definition of reduction in PDF spec ends. And now, obviously, we would expect that the vendors would do the good job of removing that stuff. But we don't tell whether redacting metadata is something someone should do, shall do, may do. We don't define this. So, as I said, I hear your pain. However, from the PDF specification point of view, none of that is our problem, which is a problem.
So that's where the where do we align? Where do we have our own playgrounds to play? Because for me, it doesn't matter, right? I say the same back to you. What you do is like Greek and Latin to me. Literally sitting in Germany, even I read German, it's Greek and Latin to me. So for me, it's like, okay, you have all the skeleton to support, but if you don't put a muscle around that skeleton, it's not going to sell. You need a mannequin at least to have such a setup, right? So pun intended. So that's where, so now adding another layer, as if what is going on is not enough, we have the AI wave. So believe it or not, some like it, some dislike it. We have to live with it. AI is going to thrive, and we all have to adapt to it. And those who don't, might find it hard, right? So I can say it safely because at life where I stand, I'm neither grandfathered nor too young. So I'm also stuck in this rat race. So, AI is going to be evolving, and frankly speaking, though we launched a lot of capabilities of AI into PDF, again, the question that stands for us is, are we really making revenue out of it? According to Gartner, the industry survey says that 79% of industries globally who have really embraced AI have still not found a way to make revenue, right? So this is really doesn't care, like the PDF industry or specification doesn't care about it, but I do care because I spend a lot of money. My developers are working on AI-related things. We launched MCP editor, Foxit PDF editor, the first host for MCP, right? A big tap on our shoulders for that. And then that allows for a lot of integrations, like you connect with Gmail, connect to the GitHub, and get all the capabilities there. But anyway, the point is that I'm working on AI, bringing AI into PDF. I'm just trying to struggle, like, are users clicking, playing around with my AI tools? Are they utilizing it? Again, yesterday someone mentioned, at the end of the day, legal documents, contracts, it still needs a certain percentage of manual effort after AI runs all its magic, right? So we are in that kind of a mode. Time will tell, right? I'm using many phrases from the past sessions. So in this room before lunch, we had the good, bad, ugly on the design. And how do you define bad is because it's a changing factor. So change, I think that slide said, definition of bad is changing, basically. So that's how, we have to look at AI, how it's going to work. Are people really embracing it? A lot of things on AI is not AI problem, but it's human problem. How do we understand AI to really use it to our best? So I think I covered pretty much the next slides on that as well. Yeah, go for it.
This one. Okay, so yeah, AI is definitely adding a value, but is also changing the way how we navigate and process the document. It's adding additional new features which were never defined by any means of standards. De facto standards or real standards. AI is coming into play. We know it's happening, and it's changing the way we shape, or the AI is going to shape the future. For example, smart reduction. AI can detect sensitive data, patterns, anything. that means that AI comes into our world doing smart reduction in a world where we trust it fully to our tools, that the reliability is the key factor, and we're introducing smart reduction that reducts today something and in 2 minutes something different. So we are adding uncertainty to our customers without actually telling them so. They are coming into PDF with some sort of expectation. They understand that whatever they do, it's reliable. It's pixel perfect rendering. But now we tell them, you know, go figure. Today you get some results, tomorrow different result. Is it something what would hurt the core PDF value proposition? Is it something we should care about, think about? Is it a problem? Sometimes AI might help a lot. Auto tagging is, we heard a lot of talks about tagging over the past 2 days. I'm a huge fan of structure in a PDF. So AI can definitely help enrich the document with the structure. But the talk we did have about accessibility, or heard about accessibility, is that really something that would be reliable? End users can rely on well-tagged PDF files made by AI, that they would contain whatever manual check has to be, or manual decision has to be made when tagging, alternate description on an image. It's made by human. Now AI comes into the place, adds certain level of uncertainty, I'd say, right? So
Yeah.
we have to be prepared to discuss the core value proposition of PDF. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so
Okay.
here again with AI, right, we are trying to bring in these two main features of collaboration, form filling. Obviously, thinking about form filling, there's going to be, again, from the customer's perspective, consent that you want to receive before you want auto form filling done by AI. So a lot of steps and workarounds in the UI that we have to work on before we get that launched. But again, after you fill those things, the metadata comes to play. Like how strong is all the attributes that is associated to AI being the in the background completing this task of form filling. The other one, I think next slide is AI is really not, I think maybe it was before, AI is really agnostic of the format, right? Right now, we work on agentic AI. Say there are a lot of thesis papers, research papers, we have research agents. We'll soon be launching something like financial agent or contract agent. So all of these agents will be working to cater to a specific need of the audience, a specific task or a goal completion for the audience, right? If you're a legal vertical, then from a law firm, we give you that agent. Or if you are from EDU, education, industry, professors, students, we work on that research agent. But ultimately, like, we are also giving a lot of opportunity through AI, where we have web searches. So you can connect to the web if you're working or on a thesis study, get relevant information. You can embed that, export that. Again, like, how does it all play with format? Because AI is agnostic of format. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, well, exactly. So I think Matthew did have this in his talk, and I think that translates kind of nicely into this. So we coming from an era of linear, evolution, so to say. So we started to add feature after feature with the same kind of core principle in mind, that everybody will be able to process the information stored in the document the same way. And now I hear you talking about financial agent,
contract
healthcare agent, contract agent. Does that mean that those finance people or contractors, or that's not contractors, someone who works with contracts,
sales codes, invoices,
would see the document differently? Probably yes. They want to access the document a little differently. They want to see different type of content, not in a visual sense, but they want to come to the document or large amount of documents from their perspective. So the core principle, pixel perfect rendering, doesn't really come into a place because my reading of the document is completely different than Matthew's reading. Sorry, but yes.
Checking if everybody's awake.
No. You are a doctor, so I'm not, right? So my expectations are completely different. I'm looking for different things in the document, and AI is coming into a place. They would help me to find those things in the document that I care about. But that also means that AI would hide the other stuff for me. And that doesn't really align nicely with the pixel perfect rendering. Not everybody will get the same output. Even I will not get the same
Answer for the same prompt.
For the same prompt today, tomorrow. So yeah, talking to the document is definitely going to shape or change the user expectation, user interface, so to speak, because would we care, maybe we would still care about scroll bars, buttons, next page, proof page, first page, last page, but our kids, would they care about our grandkids? Maybe they won't, right? So how do we think about this transition into new world? I think we at least should acknowledge that this is happening, that this shift is coming into our place. We might even start thinking about rethinking what the core principle of PDF is. Maybe we are not, we're not looking at pixel perfect rendering anymore. We are looking on delivering the message via some sort of container, which happens to be a PDF.
Yeah, for me, I think ultimately every day I should wake up and come to work and say, what is my goal? I think I'm working on PDF and enhancing PDF because I'm working for knowledge worker productivity. That is the goal. And if they are able to reach their goal, then my product works. Otherwise,
Yes. Yep.
it doesn't.
Yep, exactly. So we have 2 more slides to go, and I think we are getting to the main point of the whole topic or whole discussion here. We were trying to somehow standardize the de facto standardized already behavior of viewers. So we wanted to standardize consumption of a PDF, not just rendering of a PDF. Sometimes it doesn't have to be an ISO standard, as is a PDF specification. It might be best practice guide. It might be some only recommendations or application notes. But ultimately, what we were trying to do in a linear way to keep up on promises of delivering the same message to everybody through the means of PDF. Now, we know there are specific unwritten rules that are nowhere, but we accept them as vendors, as users. We accept that the form field behavior isn't properly defined, but if you click into interactive form field, you would get a blinking cursor there. You would be able to write down something on your keyboard. We also have a lot of processes that are not interactive, like serving the accessibility. It also hasn't been defined properly. We have file format specification, PDF UA, and Thomas, 10 minutes? 10 minutes. Okay. We have a PDF specification, UA2 or UA1, that defines how the well-tagged PDF should be prepared for accessibility. But we don't tell how the message is delivered to the end user. And we know there is a lot of steps in the delivering of the message. There is an accessibility API, there is an AT, and there is a Braille reader. So we didn't define all of that. Everything just accept it as it was. So that's what I'm talking about, unwritten rules, but expectations were already there. Did it have an impact on innovation? I'd say yes. If we wrote down the accessibility API properly, if we had an referential implementation of accessibility API, maybe we'll have more tagged PDF already, and maybe not. I don't know, right? But some impact on innovation. There was some impact on innovation, and as we are moving toward the AI and toward the 2030 or something, the expectations are changing. New people are consuming content very differently. My kids, very different expectations when it comes to almost anything, right, online. I read from top to bottom, they don't, for example. So the expectations of our customers is changing, and especially with AI coming, new consumption is approaching very, very quickly. So is it relevant for the future? I think it's very relevant, because so far, as I mentioned multiple times, it was linear evolution. Right now, we are at the stage where any AI engine or any AI model would approach the PDF differently, and would try to extract the textual information and do decision based on that. Some of them would just render the page, run whatever OCR algorithms they have, without looking at the textual layer. So we are in a point where people are starting to define various processes, because ML is a new processor essentially, and we don't give them guidance how to approach PDF, what is important in PDF, when to use textual information, when to use OCR information, and when not. So for the future, I think it's relevant to at least start acknowledging the problem and start thinking what to do next. Okay, and for the end, I prepared a couple of questions. I don't have answers. We don't have. We are from the same company. We can sit in the same room, and we will not agree. So it's hard for all of us agree that we are from different companies, having different business needs, serving different type of customers. So it's impossible to find common ground. However, I believe that the questions for the future are why the consistency in PDF consumption matters. I believe this is an important one, because that's when we come into the contract with the user. They have expectations. We all together should fulfill the expectations to some degree, and clearly tell them where their expectations might be different from different tools. That's all right. Should we try to standardize the user experience? Well, if we believe that this is something what our landscape needs, well, let's look at this. I don't think that helps, because the user interface itself, or the way people consume the content, is changing so rapidly, and we know how slow we are with doing our standards. Well, any standards, not just we. So I don't really believe, but that we should be the people that start standardizing the whatever comes next. We don't know that yet, but we should adopt the idea from out the world and react as a community, have the ultimate answers, I'd say. What is the best for PDF? What is the best for average customer? And what might be interesting for other type of customers? What about PDF features that already exist? We mentioned reduction. Do we need to specify the behavior a little more, a little better? I think it would be nice to have a common understanding that if you mark something for reduction and redact it, that's actually gone, right? That would be nice to agree on. And I believe that nobody in this room would disagree with me that this is expected behavior, even though it's not written anywhere. So yeah, I think the features that are out there that already have set up some expectations in end users, we should look at them and maybe try to help vendors to use them properly. Let's say, I don't know, text selection maybe. That's a good one. That's so common that everybody understands what I'm talking about. How will AI usage change our user interface or again the consumption? I think dramatically. Well, maybe not tomorrow, maybe later, but already the PDF is being consumed by AI agents without us knowing. They are feeding the models with PDFs, and they are not doing it in any standardized way, whatever works for them. It's hard to have expectations from the results of AI models if we don't know how that was trained. We don't have a control over that. We didn't even provide any guidance or any best practices there. AI products produces inconsistent output. Does it matter? I think it does to some degree, because the core principle of PDF, you get always the same output. Now you don't. It's a false expectation. So we have to be absolutely clear about it when we do our products, that this is, you won't do that. If you use smart reduction, you will probably get different results every time you run it, right? So that's a common sense, but people don't understand that. So
but on that aspect, one more thing is AI, as it is also evolving iteratively, it is expected that the user understands that output changes, because once, with the agentic AIs, what's happening now is it understands you as Roman from PDF standardization and specification. It understands me as Madhura from product. The questions I ask, it keeps it in its history, and so its next future answers are based on less hallucination and more accuracy, right? Because it's training itself with my past queries. So again, the aspect changes, user
Yes.
as well as AI.
yeah, and that's something I also wanted to mention. We are talking about moving target. Today we decide something, and tomorrow we wake up in a completely different world. So I think we have to be ready for that. That's new to PDF, I believe. It was not here for, we basically lived the world of consistency and predictability, and that's changing. And the question also comes up, how will end users consume the PDFs in the future? Nobody knows. So it's hard to make predictions, especially about the future. And
The shift to mobile has increased.
yes, absolutely. So again, the thing about the initial view, which we have in a PDF specification, is not relevant anymore. We still have it. It's relevant for desktop products, still maybe, but is it as an aspect that we would need to keep in a PDF specification? Yeah, nobody knows. And the last question, is the relevance of consistent rendering still present? And I think this is the tough one, because I believe it's still important.
It is. Yeah.
And we are talking about backwards compatibility essentially here. Whether we should keep it, this core principle in a PDF, or whether we should look at some future PDF specification that would not have this embedded so deeply as a core principle. Yep. And I will leave you with that question. And thank you very much for your attention.
Yep. Thank you all.